Once upon a time, there was a time when he was a warrior, and he was trying to fight and become stronger, but he learned that not every battle could be won. Not at his present state. Challenged in a bloody cloud of mutating, exploding zombie men. 3 people coming at him, using powerful lasers and blood flames and explosions of every sort. He journeyed into a dark cave that could have been a metaphor for the unknown. It could have been a metaphor for all the things that he had yet to learn. Where would he go? Where was he going? And was there any way out? These are the questions that our hero had to ask himself. Looking for light. And yet the only light that was shining in that dark, abysmal place was the light from the hellions that chased him. Until he found himself deep in a hole, trying to escape. But instead, all of his blood was coming out. He struck out wildly like a cornered animal, but then was promptly slaughtered. Oh, the pain of being a hero.
What's going on, guys? I'm Saint Riot, and I make content for YouTube. And you watch content on YouTube. You're bored, you're sitting at the house, you're sitting at work, you're on your break, in between classes, who knows? But you're sitting there and you're watching the content on YouTube. And this is a story. This is a tale of a guy who just wanted to get some cool clips of the Partisan. That's all he wanted. He was curious about if that R2 could combo into things. Ashes of War, as it were. But he learned a powerful lesson. A powerful lesson was learned. That when you try and get footage of goofy stuff, that's when it seems like everyone is the greatest player of all time. Is that what's actually happening? No. These are still all just the same average, regular, everyday players. But if you're trying to force something to work, it's going to feel more difficult than just, letting it sort of happen. And that first invasion you saw today, where we learned a powerful lesson about running in the cave, and we learned about the darkness and all of the things that might still be yet to know and learn. And so we set out on our journey. We had to become stronger. That's what this story's about. This story's about becoming stronger. Maybe you say to yourself, Saint, I think what happened is you just invaded those people, and then you're going to invade them again immediately afterwards. And what you've done is you've taken a bunch of invasion footage and you've put it in between those 2 invasions to form a narrative that didn't really happen. And that is what's happening. But what you're doing is a disservice to narrative. What you're doing is breaking kayfabe. You have to pretend like what I'm saying is real. We all know it's not. It doesn't make you smart to understand that the very obviously fake thing is fake. That's not, you don't have vast intelligence for that. In fact, it even goes without saying. That's the point. Is we just suspend our disbelief a little bit.
But the powerful hero was not to be trifled with. He wouldn't be stopped. He went into his bag of goodies. His goodies were all weapons. But the weapons weighed heavily on him. And so he learned that he would have to give up a piece of himself if he wanted to maintain flexibility. And then he just went to town. He just went to town and he was trading. he was trading. He said, I got this. I'll give you this for that. Hey, I see you've got this. Well, I'll give you that for this. And they was making the trades. And they was loving it. And he was loving it too. But what they didn't know was that he was the one coming up on top of the trade. A stone cold killer. A stone cold killer knocking them off with a cane in powerful ways. He knew that if he was going to earn his revenge, he was going to have to become a stone cold killer. So that's what he did. He was shooting people. He was stabbing them in the belly. He was out there just a-getting. And then he said to himself, now that I've gotten what I'll get, I'm gonna get till I'm got. And that's when he pulled out that partisan to see if he could do some silly stuff with the sweeping attacks inherent in the partisan. And look at there, it moved and it went the way he wanted it to. And he was feeling pretty good. You see, with every victory that was achieved by our humble hero, with every mountain he climbed, every problem he overcame, only added to his confidence. And that's where the real problem was. He said, I do have what it takes. And he remembered the most important thought that can be remembered by a hero. And that is that he is, in fact, that hero. And he knew every time he came away a little bit stronger that he had what it took to go back there and challenge those bad men. And he'd keep on just slowly pressing attacks and pressing the advantage as well. And he would just trade all day. He'd go down there and he'd say, old woman, I got these beans. I got these beans, old woman. And she'd say, I can't give you these pills for them beans. These pills is what keeps my body working. But then he would just continue to insist. He'd say, listen, ma'am, we gotta trade. I can't trade with you. I gotta trade, he'd say. And he would. And that old woman, she said, I can't believe it, but I'm compelled to trade with you. I'm so compelled right now. That's right. The old woman was compelled. Much like you, dear viewer, you're compelled by the story, by the narrative. It continues to draw you in. It continues to suck you in. The narrative continues to deliver. And so you're here. You're watching the narrative. It's on YouTube. It's happening in real time. As I'm saying it, you're feeling it. You're experiencing these things. And your heart is opening up a little bit. And you're making a connection with a human being. Right? And why are you able to do that? Well, you're able to do that because you suspended that disbelief. Because you were willing to just say, you know what? I'm just going to go for the ride. I don't have to be smart and try and point out that I know that this is edited to form a narrative. You can just enjoy the narrative. And you learn that everyone else has just been enjoying the narrative as well. Everyone knew it was fake. Everyone. It just wasn't worth talking about. That's the way all storytelling works. That's the way it works. You swap your higher brain function for just a little story.
And then maybe in the process, you gain something. Maybe you gain a little perspective, a little humanity. And that's why it's important, YouTube viewer, that's why it's important for us as human beings to embrace things like art, so that we can understand why it is we continue on, why we continue to do the things that we do, why we continue to allow ourselves to suspend disbelief, because of the payoff. Right here, what you're about to see right here is a great example of payoff. This is the sort of thing that you want, okay? But what that means is that there has to be, you can't have that instant gratification. Does that pay off? Sure it does, but it doesn't pay off in the same way. Now there's nothing wrong with a little instant gratification. It's different. It's different stuff. But these journeys where we have to overcome something, as opposed to the journeys where we just win, right? The journeys where we just win, those can be fun, those can be great, and they can tell a story or whatever, and they can do a fine job, but they can never do what this type of story does, right? This type of story where there's actually a very, I hate to use the word annoying, but that's the first word that comes to my mind. That's the first word that comes to my mind, is annoying, right? Now, again, I hate to use that word. I don't want that to be the word. But my point is that we have to experience frustration in order to experience relief. Everybody knows that, right? And that's the difference between instant gratification and, narrative-driven character study, right? And that's the sort of thing that I'm doing right here, right now. So as you're watching this and you're seeing, you're like, man, I really wish he could just get one of those backstabs. But there it is. Now how will things go? Now how will that change the way things work? There it is. You see, we struggled. We had to struggle with it for a minute. But then when we finally do get it, it's over and we get it again. And now it's just like a skill, right? Now that's the story that it told. Now, is that what actually happened? No, it's not. But if you allow yourself to believe, if you allow yourself to extend that disbelief for just a moment, then that's what you stand to gain. And that'll allow me to spin a yarn. That'll allow me to put you in the spin cycle, right? I'm spinning a yarn in the spin cycle, right? Because I'm spinning the facts to support my narrative. That's what's happening. And you're willing to make that trade because you want to see where this goes. And maybe you'll learn a little something about anything, about what it means to love. Oh, what it means to love. Our hero, he didn't love fighting alongside that gargoyle, I'll tell you that right now. Because that gargoyle's a mean old son of a bitch. And he'll hit any old thing, he don't even care. And he damn near might kill you. So you gotta be careful. They tried to do a little spinning on that weapon there, and it didn't work out for them too good. And they was fighting in the old beast church, where they worshipped on animals and what have you, things of that nature. It was disrespectful what they did in that church. It was so damn disrespectful. But there could be disrespect saved for only those other fellas what we remembered from the start.
our hero was finally feeling like he had the strength, that he had the power to go back and to challenge them again.
And see, viewer, this is my favorite type of PvP content, is the salty runback content.
Salty runback. It's the best type of content that there can be. He was a man. He was the salt of the earth, and he was running back the way he came. Salty running back.
Salty running back the way he came. Can you believe it? Can you believe the narrative that we're telling here? And these people, they wanted to do big damage, you know, but he just knew he had to trade. That's all. That's it. And when they tried to do that, he'd just spin a yarn. He'd just spin. He'd put him in the spin cycle. Oh, but it didn't mean that it was going to be easy.
It wasn't going to be easy, and he knew that. But he knew that he had to keep trying. And then when they did genocide on the frog people of Albanoro, he realized that, they were so powerful that they weren't very good. There's such a thing as being too powerful. And he began to use that too powerful against them. They thought they was stronger than they was. They had all the lasers and all the blood flame and all the explosions. They had all that. But what they didn't have was the 1 ounce of skill required in order to beat this guy with a sharp stick. Now, it was his chance to finally score his revenge. And he wouldn't let this moment pass him by.
Sometimes I just don't know what to make videos about. And I just do stuff like this. I don't know what any of this means at all. I don't know. I'm literally just talking as words appear in my head. I just grab them and say them. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed me spinning a yarn. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Later, y'all.